Alberta Premier Jason Kenney announced that reopening the province's economy would depend on more Albertans getting vaccinated. So, wouldn't it move us in the right direction to have vaccines developed here in Canada? According to one Calgary-based company, this isn't a crazy thought. In fact, if the right funding is received from the feds and the province, we could have vaccines developed right here in Alberta. Brad Stevens is the president and CEO of Northern RNA. He joins me via Zoom from Calgary. Brad, hello. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Hi, Jeanette. Thanks for having me. Appreciate the time.
Of course. Now, many Albertans may not realize some of the industries that call Alberta home. Can you describe for our viewers what Northern RNA does?
Sure. We are a relatively newly established CDMO, that stands for Contract Development and Manufacturing Organization. And so basically what we do is we work with other companies by way of contract as part of the name. We try and what we do work with other companies to develop raw materials that they might need, help them in the design of some of their products. Then we enter into manufacturing contracts and then provide them the raw products, raw materials that will go into vaccines or whatever they might be using the materials for.
Okay, well, you mentioned the magic word there because many Albertans are anxious for their opportunity to acquire a vaccine. So can you tell us about the role your company can take to actually make this a reality?
Sure. So right now, on our early phase one production, we are focused on the development of two raw materials. One are called cap analog, and the other one's called plasmid DNA. And cap analog is really kind of one of the essential elements to make messenger RNA. You've heard that's the new buzzword in the world today.
Exactly.
Is messenger RNA. Yeah, it is. It's new technology. It's disruptive technology, I believe. And it's the basis of a couple of the most well-known vaccines. But we also think that it will be the basis of lots of other applications in the future once the pandemic is gone. And so we make some of the essential raw materials that will go into these vaccines or whatever they might be used for in the future. And so we're working with, as I said, vaccine and other developers, providing these raw materials as essential elements in the production of vaccines and other materials.
Okay, that's amazing. So what kind of funding would you need for this to happen? Are you getting any attention from the feds or from the provincial government?
So we've been fortunate. Early on, we did receive a small grant from the federal government, a 50% spending grant from an organization associated with the federal government called Next Generation Manufacturing, or NGen. And we received a $1.6 million grant. That's, as I said, it's 50%. So if we spent $3.2 million, which we are getting pretty close to, we can receive $1.6 million in return for eligible expenses. And that's equipment, some salaries, those kinds of things. And so we've been very grateful for that effort, but it's time to expand already. And so we've been working as part of the provincial government process, working on our expansion plans to move into what we refer to as the next level, or a GMP, good manufacturing practice manufacturing, rather than just the current labs that we have.
So, Brad, it sounds like the governments are somewhat on board with what you're doing then. Has Health Canada had any involvement as well? Have they looked at this, or do you need approval from them?
So we do in a small way. When we get into the GMP facility, it will actually be manufactured offsite, receive approvals, and then it'll be brought here and manufactured here on site. We have contracted with a company out of Quebec to deliver our site. And so Health Canada will weigh in at that point in time. As far as the raw materials and whatnot, we provide the raw materials to the company. They integrate it into a vaccine or whatever they're working on. That's when Health Canada weighs in with respect to the materials and products that we provide.
Okay, interesting. Now, as of early this week, the province reported that 1.6 million doses of the vaccine had been administered, and out of those, 303,000 Albertans have been fully vaccinated with 2 doses. That doesn't really sound like a lot, but we're getting there slowly but surely. So, Brad, if a portion of those doses had been manufactured right here in Alberta, what might that number look like today? How many more people could have been vaccinated by now?
Yeah, that's really hard to say. We began the discussions with the federal government and some of our partners, early on in the pandemic. But part of the process is that these companies have to go through research and development. They've got to go through, several stages of trials. And so it really kind of depends on how quickly those trials could have been accomplished to see how big a difference it could have been made. So I hesitate to give you an exact number. I think it would have been more. I think it would have been considerably more. And a little bit and quite a bit quicker, but I hesitate to give you an exact number. It really kind of depends on the research and development process.
Right, of course. So if it had happened, what could this have done for our economy? Anything?
Well, generally, of course, as the quicker people are vaccinated and the quicker we get as many people vaccinated, then the quicker we will be able to, use the terms open up and get
Right.
things back to normal. And so there's a direct equation there between getting doses, getting people vaccinated, getting the vaccines in the arms and having things return to normal. That's absolutely critical. That actually is absolutely critical for our return.
Yeah, you bring up a really good point there. So, how many jobs could potentially come out of something like this for Albertans?
Just in the facility that we're talking about, we've ramped up to 10 with another 3 hiring people being hired in the next couple of weeks. With our GMP facility, we think that with some support and help, we can probably triple or quadruple that number. And that's just in a company like ours. In the life science industry throughout the province, with some expansion and some investment, a considerable number of jobs that can be created for sure.
Okay, that's excellent. Can you briefly describe how long the concept of the mRNA vaccine has been around? Like you said, that's kind of that buzzword happening right now.
Yeah, I'm not really the science side of it. I know that messenger RNA is relatively new on the scenes. Maybe 20 years ago or so, but that sounds like a long time ago. But in the grand scheme of things,
Right.
obviously, once the pandemic got started and there was funding made available, then the use of messenger RNA in the vaccines really picked up the pace last year. And I'm not the first to say it. Call it a miracle, call it whatever you want. There's just been some incredible speed in being able to deliver this new technology in a vaccine.
So, Brad, we recently had Andrew McIsaac of Applied Pharmaceutical Innovation on our show. Can you describe the relationship between the two organizations?
Sure. So, as I said, we're a relatively new CDMO, and as we got started and started to introduce ourselves to not only Andrew's company, but other companies in the life science area and pharmaceutical area in Alberta, I've had some really great conversations with Andrew and his team. In some ways, they act as a little bit of an information hub. They know a lot about what's going on, and Andrew's been great for us in transmitting information and us being allowed to convey information to him as well. Technically speaking, as I understand my discussions with him, is that his company really provides a service at the back end of a vaccine or at the back end of the process, where whatever material ultimately gets in the bottle and gets in the packaging, that's kind of referred to as fill finish. That's kind of their expertise, and they're looking to expand that expertise. And we're really looking forward, with our partners, to working with them. You really begin to see how you can get the whole value chain or the supply chain right within the borders of Alberta itself. And that's what we're trying to work towards, where we're involved in the little bit more of the upfront, the manufacturing. And so that if we can get that full supply chain in Alberta, we won't be caught off guard again.
Yeah, exactly. Now, how soon could all this happen if all goes well?
So our expansion plans are very aggressive. Working with this company out of Quebec, we were able to, if we acted quickly, we were actually able to get into their supply chain, and so we acted upon it. Otherwise, we were going to have to wait a couple of years. So we're hopeful and expecting that our facility will expand here late in Q2, early Q3, and then cross our fingers, late Q4. We hope to be developing and manufacturing a product late this year.
If this were to go through, do you feel that it would still be on time, or do you feel that maybe by then it's too late because everyone would have been vaccinated already?
Yeah, great question. That's the one we always get. It's never too late. There's going to be booster shots. I think that all of the leading companies have come out and indicated that there's going to be booster shots. Nobody knows for sure how long or what form that's going to take. Not only in Alberta, but Canada and the world. There's billions of people that need to have access to what we're talking about here. And so, no, I don't believe it's too late at all.
Have you received inquiries from other countries to manufacture vaccines for their citizens?
Oh, for sure. When they see the capacity that we're building very quickly, you got to realize, Jeanette, that we took the keys to our new facility here in January 4th. We've done a complete overhaul of the facility, remarkably in about 90 days to get us up and producing. And so originally we weren't going to expand until next year, but the demand has been so big from other countries, other companies, that we took our phase 2 and moved it in to this year. And so, yes, there has been lots of interest expressed by other companies from all around the world.
That's great. Any final thoughts on what you wish to share with our viewers about your company?
No, we're just really excited to be a local Alberta company here in Calgary. We believe that this is the place. That we've got the know-how, we've got the desire here in Alberta to be able to build this industry here, and we're excited to be part of it. We think that we're going to be able to do some really remarkable things in the months ahead, and we're looking forward to being a part of this industry in Alberta.
Well, we will look forward to hearing more about how all of this is going to develop, and we wish you all the best. So thanks so much for your time today, Brad.
Thanks, Jeanette. Thanks for your time.